Hello everyone, my name is Kirsten and today's practice is about core stabilization. So if we think about core generally, we think about the muscles of the core, and sometimes we don't even think about the back muscles that also are part of that core. But what I think we think about a lot, or it seems like we think about a lot, is just the strengthening and the six-pack abs, and so not really about the function and how a functional piece of core stabilization, how that helps us in everyday life. So having proper spinal alignment, so an efficient spine from a perspective of movement, and I guess not a dysfunctional movement. Sometimes if we have our head forward a lot, if you're looking on your phone, or our shoulders rounded, that's not an efficient way for the spine to be, and it actually is a pattern that sometimes we just begin to not even realize that we're doing. So having an efficient, proper spinal alignment is a portion of this, but also then having the ability to move and have the core help us stay stable. So if you think about even just reaching for your toothbrush, maybe that fell behind the toilet or whatever it is, sometimes we have the opportunity there to tweak the back, because the core, it may be that we have an imbalance through the core, or we're not using the core in a functional way. So this class today is really designed to really focus on core stabilization from a perspective of balance, and balance in relationship to gravity in a couple of different ways, as well as some strengthening and some movement that we'll do on our back as well. So that's just a little bit of an overview, and I'll continue to tell you a little bit more about that as we move through class. So if you lay all the way back on your back, we will start there. And we're going to start here by just really tuning into the breath. So before you really settle in, if you'll just place your hands around your rib cage. So your thumbs are to the back, the fingers are to the front. And I'd like you to focus here on breathing fully. So sometimes we think in yoga about breathing through the belly only. In fact, that's kind of something that we've been taught and learned throughout yoga. Well, I know that I have for many years. So now we're going to focus in on breathing fully, like a 360 breath. So when you breathe in, and take a breath in here, see if you can focus in on breathing through the thumbs as much as you breathe through those fingers on the front side. So feeling the breath move all the way around. And when you feel that breath move, know that there's a lot going on. So the diaphragm is a muscle that helps us with breathing. It helps us with some core stabilization as well, but we don't think about that breath or that muscle a lot. In fact, we're usually thinking about that big rectus abdominis muscle. We don't think about the transverse abdominal muscle or the obliques, and then there's the back muscle, the rector spinae. So we've got a lot going on through the core, but the diaphragm gets missed. So right now I'd like you to think about, first of all, breathing fully, all the way around, and kind of breathing down. Think about the diaphragm pressing the air down and out. And again, I hope that I told you to be on your back. I'm going to stay in a little more upright position so that you can see and we can talk a little bit, or I can talk to you. So take a couple more breaths with your hands in this position, really focusing in, again, on a 360 breath. The next time you exhale, notice how we can have a little slight bracing of the core, the abdominal muscles. Try to feel that, and then continue breathing that downward and outward motion. So out, down and out. Let's take a couple more breaths here. And if you want to release your hands now that you've got that feeling of that 360 breath, maybe you turn your hands to face up here, opening up through the shoulders. We'll stay here a couple more breaths. I keep closing my eyes because I hope that you have closed your eyes and that you're really tuning in and feeling the breath. Focusing in on that movement, focusing in on really the opening of the shoulders, the relaxing, the releasing. Again, to bring yourself into this moment. We'll stay here a couple more breaths. And then following your next breath, let's do a long stretch. So reach your fingertips in one direction, reach your toes in the other. Make yourself as long as you can here. And then bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs. Maybe draw your nose up to your knees, just rounding out through the spine as much as you can. Release your head back to your mat. Maybe rock a little here side to side or draw some circles on the ceiling with your knees. Just massage through the back a little bit. And then let's bring the knees up so that they are at 45-degree angle. The shins are parallel with the floor. Arms are up. Think here about an upside down tabletop position. So the arms are up over the shoulders, knees are up over the hips. All right, so right here you may even feel your core brace. And I want you to think here about just the natural curves of your spine, especially the neck, the lowest part of the back, and we're going to make some changes here. So thinking about a cat and cow pose from this position. So pressing that lower back into the mat, thinking about your cat. And of course you can't round out as much as you could if you were on all fours, but as you find that cat position, notice how the knees will draw in and notice how the core engages. And then releasing that back to a neutral position or maybe even an arch in the spine if you think about your cow pose here. So we'll travel a couple more times between these two poses, finding your cat pose, inhaling to find your cow, and maybe you find the breath a little differently than I'm instructing here, just finding your own way, making sure that you are breathing as you're moving through these two poses or two movements, cat and cow. And then following your next cow pose, return to a neutral spine, so neutral position, still having those arms and the legs up into the air. And we're going to actually practice here now a bird dog pose from what we normally do on all fours. So if you'll extend your left leg down and extend your right arm back. So your heel is going to tap the floor and your right thumb is going to tap the floor. From here, let's draw the arm and the leg back into where we started. And then we'll, again, extend the arm and the leg. Now, that extension of the leg requires more from the core. So making sure that you are bracing, feeling that control. And if you feel like it's too much, that lower back is really coming up off the floor, then maybe bring your leg not quite as far down toward the mat. So we'll do just a couple more here. And if you'd like to add a little bit more, maybe you bring the elbow and the knee in toward each other as you bring the arm and the leg in. Again, tapping back, tapping long, and then coming in. Do one more. Slow and controlled, feel that core embrace. And then let's return and maybe even do just a little bit of a release. I will tell you here, having my hands palms facing up requires a little bit more from the forearms. So I am finding a little engagement there. And if you find that you need a little relief, feel free to do what you need to do. All right, so returning to the starting position, and now we'll extend the opposite arm. So my left arm is going back, my right leg is going long. Think again of that bird dog position and then coming back to center. All right, so continuing to move at your pace. And making sure again that you're bracing through the core, and if you find that you have, that you struggle a little bit when you extend and tap the heel down. Again, maybe the leg comes up a little bit or it doesn't go quite as far down toward the floor. If you want to add the elbow and the knee in, feel free to do that. Extending, and then elbow and knee in toward each other. So that bracing through the core, let's do one more. And then bringing it in, and then hugging the knees in, relaxing, maybe rocking a little side to side. So the movements that we did there, we had a lot going on. We were actually extending and doing a little bit through the obliques here as well. And if you think about the movement, all the things that had to happen in order for the leg to extend and the arm to extend and then coming back in, it's all connected. So while we were bracing through the core, we were allowed to extend and bring the leg in again, just because of the efficiency, effectiveness of that core movement. All right, so from here, the knees are in. Now let's extend the arms out to the side in the shape of a T. We are once again returning with the knees up over the hips. We're going to drop the knees slightly over to that right side. Now where you choose to bring the knees over, or how far you choose, is really up to you. If you find that it's too much on your back, then maybe don't go quite as far. Find your range of motion here, but what I'd like you to do is really focus in on using the core to bring the legs back to center. So yeah, we could go through the motions here and rock from side to side, but I'd like you to, again, think about using your core strength to bring your legs back to center. Draw your knees back, or your legs back in. If things are going okay here, and you'd like to add a little bit more extension, or a little more for the core, maybe you extend the legs straight. So as we travel from side to side here with straight legs, again, finding where the range of motion that you need to practice here, using your core, bring the legs out and bring them back into center efficiently. Doing one more to each side, and once you've done those last two, one to each side, draw the knees back into your chest. And then we'll rock and roll up to a seated position. From seated, come to all fours. And in this position, with the hands directly underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips, we're going to begin to practice again what we practiced on our backs. But as we move here, we're actually going to move a little differently and challenge not only the core, but the brain as well, I find. All right, so let's extend that left leg straight back behind, extend your right arm straight out in front. So bird dog, just like we practiced on our back. But as you hold here, think about your head position. So there's a tendency in this position to drop the head. The head is heavy. So think about that spine, nice and long. In fact, thinking about pressing your head back, maybe even into an imaginary car headrest here. The right arm, we're going to draw the elbow in. And as you draw that elbow in, really think about it's even like a row, really strong. Now your knee and your elbow, left knee is going to come in, the right arm will go long. So think of everything going forward and then everything going back. So bringing that right elbow in like a row. So really squeezing in and extending that left leg long. Let's do a couple more. Forward and back. So again, everything moving in the same direction. Focus is straight down to your mat. Keep that head lined up with the rest of the spine. The next time you have landed or extended that left leg, place the right hand to the mat, and we'll do a quarter pivot to face the left long edge of the mat. The left arm will go up into the air. The left leg is straight. Think here about a little mini half moon pose. So in your half moon pose here, again, it's left side. Think about all that needs to work in order for you to remain here. Of course, the leg is working, but the core stabilization that is required. All right, so if things are okay here, just stay here. If you'd like to add a little bit more, we're going to bring the knee and the elbow in toward each other. So think here about the rib cage coming in toward that hip bone. And then as you extend, lengthen. Take a full breath. On your exhale, pull your elbow and knee in toward each other. Good, and then extend. And one more time here. And extend. All right, and then let's return to an all fours position. Let's come off the wrist just for a second and actually press back to an extended child's pose. In this extended child's pose here, you may want to roll through the wrists a little bit, maybe rotate the palms to face up. Thinking here about, this is a great opportunity to breathe through a 360, and actually if you do have your knees directly underneath you, you may notice that you can't really do that. Instead, you may be breathing through the back side of the body. So it's a great opportunity to really think about breathing fully and through that back side of the body. Sometimes, again, we're just thinking about breathing through that front side. All right, from here, let's return to an all fours position, lining the joints up, making sure the head is lined up with the rest of the spine, finding that imaginary car headrest. And then from here, we're going to extend that right leg back and extend the left arm forward. Good, let's pause right here. Just noticing if you're sinking in, noticing if what is going on again with the spine. Sometimes there's a tendency here too to just kind of sag through the spine. So find that nice long line from the left fingertips back to that right foot. All right, draw the left elbow in, and when you draw it in, really pull it in here. And now we'll send everything forward. So the right knee forward, left arm forward, and then everything back. So we're continue moving here, and let me just share that we are actually practicing these moves, these movements in this position here before we actually practice them from a standing position as well. All right, do one more, sending everything forward and everything back. And then set your left hand to the mat. Do a quarter pivot to face the right long edge of the mat. Send that right arm up into the air. And I'm going to move again to face you. So we'll do our little mini half moon pose here. In this half moon pose, maybe you choose to stay. Maybe you add this movement where you're bringing the elbow and knee in toward each other, and then extending nice and long. Full breath here. Exhale to pull the elbow and knee in. We have one more. Long extension, and then elbow and knee in. Perfect. And then extend, and then let's return to an all fours position. And from this all fours position, curl your toes under, walk your hands and your feet together, finding a standing forward bend. Allowing your upper body just to relax forward here. If you need to widen your stance or bend your knees a little bit, feel free to make those changes. If you're really tight through the hamstrings today, we want to slowly begin to open up through the back of the legs. All right, now from here, placing your hands to your thighs, let's roll up one vertebra at a time. Coming all the way up to stand. And once you are all the way up here, let's do just a little bit of lateral movement for the spine, and then we'll continue on with our practice. So let's inhale up here. Actually, this is a continuation of the practice. I don't know why I just said that. All right, feet are hip bone width apart. You are doing a little crescent moon pose, coming back to center, and then flowing over to that other side. Good, let's do one more in each direction. Inhale to come center, and exhale, flowing over to one side, coming back to center, and let's flow over to the other side. Now, coming back to center, let's open up here. So maybe you find goalpost arms, but I'd like you to think here about just opening up through the front body. So it's a little bit of a back bend, making sure here too that you are not really crunching in those lower vertebrae. So stay nice and long, nice long extension, but open up. Good, and then come back to center and bring your arms down by your side. So we do that little extension. I like to incorporate that into my sun salutation because again, we are a lot of the time like this, like this, like this. So really think about opening up on those extensions. All right, from the front end of your mat, let's continue warming up with a couple of sun salutation A's. Inhaling the arms up. On your exhale, find those goalpost arms. Find the opening through the front body, staying long through the spine. Inhale to lengthen up. Diving forward on your exhale. Now, on your inhale, half lift. Let's send the arms back. Rotate your palms to face, as much as you can, to face the sides of the room. And think here about that long, straight spine, Soft bend in the knees. Good, core is strong. So again, we are practicing and focusing on core stabilization, but that requires the efficient and organized spine. So just thinking about that, and now fold yourself forward. We'll do one more like that. Inhale, half lift up, sending the arms back, core strong, straight spine, and exhale to fold. Now stepping back to a plank position, let's pause right here. So in plank, because there's so much that's required, there is a tendency to drop the head. So let's once again really focus on pressing the head back into that imaginary car headrest. Core is strong, making sure that you're not sinking here, but instead engaging through the abdominals. Breathing your 360 breath here. All right, shifting your weight forward, elbows locked into the side body, drop the knees if you need to. We will lower down. Inhale up, find your back bend. So a back bend could be an up dog, a cobra, a sphinx pose, but open up, extend through the spine, feel that nice opening through the front body. And then we'll lower down, press up to your plank pose or a modified plank pose, and let's find our first down dog of our practice today. Maybe walking the dog here would feel good. Feet are hip bone width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. Relax your head between your arms. Looking to the front end of your mat, let's travel forward. It might be little steps, it might be one big step, it might be a hop forward. Inhale, half lift up. Exhale to fold yourself forward. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way up. Exhale, back bend, open up. Inhale, lengthen up, dive forward on your exhale. Inhale, half lift up. Exhale to fold, step or hop back, find your plank pose, pause right here. Find that nice, strong, straight spine. Shift your weight forward, lock in and lower down. Inhale up, find back bend, your choice. And then flowing to down dog, however you'd like to get there. And once you are there, we'll meet. Look to the front end of your mat, travel forward, however you'd like to go. Inhale, half lift up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way up. Exhale, back bend. Let's do one more round. Inhale, lengthen up, dive forward, exhale. Inhale, half lift up, core strong. Exhale to fold, step or hop back, find your plank pose, pause. Full breath, spine long. Lower down, inhale up, back bend. Flowing to down dog, however you'd like to get there. Look to the front end of your mat, travel forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way up. Exhale, back bend. All right, I don't know if I said one more round, but this is really, truly one more round. Let's fold. Inhale, half lift up. Exhale to fold, step or hop back, find your plank pose, pause. Good, find that strong, straight spine, core engaged, 360 breath. Shift forward, lock in, lower down, inhale up, back bend. And then we'll move to down dog. Good, now from here, walk your feet about mat width apart and walk your hands back to your feet. Good, from here, just finding a little forward bend, rolling up, nice and easy. Place your hands to your thighs if you need that support. All right, so from the back end of your mat, we are going to practice, again, some core engagement from a different perspective. So all of your weight, bring it to your left foot. And with your left foot underneath your left hip bone, I would like you to think about if you were to take off and sprint as fast as you could go, what would that look like? So we're going to, if you were going to do that, what would that first movement look like? So for me, it would be there, right? So do a couple of those, and as you come up, think about the core embracing or bracing. So I want you to think here, keep doing these a couple more times, again, about the strength that is needed throughout the whole body. So yeah, the core is stabilizing, but you've got a lot going on here with that, with everything that needs to happen in order for you to take off and run. All right, so the right knee is up, holding on right there. Let's hold on. And I'd like you to really feel free to challenge yourself on the arm position. You choose the arm position here. But standing up nice and tall, let's begin to extend that right leg straight and take a gentle step forward. Now we'll do the same thing with the left knee coming up. This time we're going slow, controlling the movement, sending the left leg, stepping forward. So they're gentle steps forward. Do one more. Right leg is now up, and we're sending that right leg straight, stepping forward. Now the left knee will come up, the arms will go up with it. Good, find your strength here. And as we hold here, you know, there's a tendency here where you could really flare out the ribs, but think of that nice, strong, straight spine, arms extended. Your left leg, we're going to bring the left leg over the right leg to find eagle legs or a figure 4 position if that works better for you. And then if you'd like to practice eagle arms, your right arm will be on top of your left, wrapping your arms up. All right, so there's a lot that has to happen here in order to keep you balanced. There's so much going on with the arms locked up, the legs locked up, finding the strength throughout the whole body here. Breathing your 360 breath, bracing through the core. Now as we move out of this pose, we're moving into a warrior 1. So let's send the arms up, send the left leg back, finding your warrior 1 pose here. All right. So lunging through that front leg. Now let's open up through the chest, open up. So the movement that we just did was really opening up through the shoulder blades. And now we're going to do the exact opposite by opening up little goalpost arms. Again, lunging through that front leg, finding a little opening through that left hip flexor. Now we'll begin to straighten the arms up, straighten the right leg, and we'll hinge forward. So hinge forward from the hip, leading with the heart. And if you need to shorten your stance a little bit, you're welcome to do that. Maybe there's a slight bend in that, or there is a slight bend in that right knee, but if you need more of a bend, feel free to take it because this can be a lot on that hamstring. So right here, thinking about your core strength, the core bracing, the breathing, the 360 breath. If your arms extended is too much, maybe you bring your hands to your hips, maybe you extend your arms back. But again, finding that strong core, nice strong straight spine, head in, press back into that imaginary car headrest. All right, so the work that we did on all fours, we're going to practice that again here. When I say work, it may feel like work, but I'd like you to really be kind to yourself as we move through these next 2 pieces. All right, sending your left leg back. Maybe you send your arms long for warrior 3. All right, so the left leg will stay long. The left arm will stay long. The right elbow comes in. All right, so now your left knee will go forward, your right arm will go forward, just like we practiced on all fours. And then everything goes back. So everything forward, meaning your left knee, your right arm, and everything goes back. Do one more, sending the arm and the leg forward, and then back. Beautiful. Now when we move out of this, we are moving to a warrior 2. Good, let's reset right here. So lunging through that front leg, making sure that your knee and your ankle are aligned. Maybe the arms are sending long, maybe you rotate your palms to face up. Maybe you put your hands on your ribs again, like we practiced earlier, finding that 360 breath, returning to that strong breath. You know, sometimes we get very wrapped up in balance, and I'd like you to, I mean, it's a natural thing, but give yourself a break. So make sure that you're kind, do what you can do, and this next part in particular, just again, go slow, do your thing. We're going to find a half moon pose, but not touch down, and then we'll add a little movement, and the movement is optional. So maybe slide that left foot in just a little bit. And then as you come up, staying open, left leg up. All right, so I'm not going even near a full half moon, that's all right. If you'd like to add a little movement here, maybe elbow and knee in toward each other like we practiced on all fours, and then sending the arm and the leg long. So if that's too much, you don't want to add that in, no worries. Do what's best for your body, but think about that core bracing, strong, strong core. All right, once you've done one more maybe, then we will return to a warrior two. Good, and we're gonna pause for just 1 second.